everybody, and welcome to E-commerce Quick Fix Cross-Border Magazine official podcast. Today is a happy day, it's a great day because we are with our friends from Bleckmann with Ron Thijssen. Ron, how are you? How's everything?
I'm fine. Thank you very much for inviting me and having me.
Well, it's going to be a round of boxing here with you today. Ron introduced himself by saying that his last name is pronounced like the boxer, and I think it's an amazing punchline to introduce yourself. But tell us a little bit more right now about both Blackman and your position there, and what's the company doing right now?
We're a atypical organization, atypical service provider. Our clients are in the fashion and lifestyle industry. From our
Exclusively fashion, Ron?
yeah, 90-95% is of our clients are fashion companies. There are a bit of odd ones. No, odd ones is not the right word. There are a couple of customers who are in the lifestyle industry and not predominantly in the fashion industry.
Those will be like the most different in kind of customers that you usually have because you cater primarily for fashion.
Yes, primarily for fashion. We're doing this since 1862. And we started out as a one-man company, one-man band. Benjamin Bleckmann started selling and distributing clothing from the Germany and Eastern Netherlands parts. And we grew into the company that we are at the moment, servicing roughly 250 different brands from 42 warehouses across 5 countries, 2 continents, and shipping out approximately 600 million pieces of apparel on a yearly basis.
Wow, Jesus. I mean, I was going to ask you a question, but I think you already answered. Is logistics difficult, complex for fashion brands?
Yes, different than logistics for a regular type of business branch, if you may say so. Um, some companies know exactly how much products they have to ship out for the next 6 months within Europe. Our clients, the fashion industry, don't always. They do have forecasts, but they depend on many factors such as, well, a consumer for a fact, what does he like? What is in fashion nowadays? What is the weather conditions? Is it going to be hot? Is it going to be cold? Yes, we are having now an autumn, but with 18 degrees, normally you would be selling winter coats at the moment, but I can't imagine that there are not being that much winter coats being sold.
Hmm.
So you
So
have to be
there's
very
like a
careful.
bazillion factors taken into
Yes,
consideration for
yes,
that fashion logistics, and also there is returns. I mean, everybody knows that nowadays, if you buy something online, a fashion product, you have always the possibility of well, it doesn't fit, I don't like it, I can return it. That
yes.
I think adds a layer of complexity that it's massive, isn't it?
It is. If you see it, total operation from inbound where the goods are being produced, shipped to our warehouses where we start picking and packing and then sending out. We are in an operation in a state now where we are getting more and more into automation in the outbound trajectory. So picking and packing is being done via Cardex Auto Store. It's being done by very robots, cobots. But the returns process is a 100% manual operation. Each item has to be checked when it is being sent returned by a consumer. Is it the item that he says he sends back? Is it damaged? Does it have any stains? Does it smell? Because, to be honest, they order on a Friday, receive on a Saturday, wear it in the weekend, and then ship it back on Monday. It's too small. So yes, it's a time-consuming, very manual operation.
And do you think that nowadays logistic companies that are facing this massive challenge, which is fashion industry, should take into consideration specific things regarding sustainability, or it should be the same treatment like other logistics for different industries?
Mm, fashion industry is one of the most polluting industries in the world. It's a nice, well, nice. It's the third place after industry of energy and food production, but it has a huge impact, and by that they have a huge responsibility if it comes to sustainability.
Hmm. And what is Blackman doing on that regard? I mean, right now, especially regarding, for example, reducing CO2 output.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you have to know where you stand. So you have to start measuring what is my impact, what is my CO2 footprint.
No, otherwise, improvement is impossible, isn't it? If you don't
Exactly.
know.
You first have to find out where you are before you can have even the first beginning of a thought of a trajectory to reduce anything. So that's the first step you have to do to figure out where is this CO2 coming from? Is it coming from inbound, outbound? Is it the warehouses, etc.? So you have to map out this very precise.
Has Bleckmann done that already? Have you
Yes,
mapped it out?
yes, we have mapped out the 2024 emissions completely. As I say, our scope 1, 2, and 3. So not only what we are emitting from our own operations, transport, inbound, outbound, and the warehouses, but also all the goods and services that we have acquired over the year. And that has been quite a challenge.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, the fact that you did that, it's incredible itself. I don't know how many logistics companies are actually doing that. I mean, I think
Well,
it's
you'll be surprised, but more and more companies are sorry, more and more companies are working on their footprint, and the first thing they have to do is to measure their footprint in total. And of course, if you have a huge, bigger company with a lot of staff and even listed companies, they are by law mandated to do so. But you see that more and more companies are having, well, first an interest, and second, they are starting to measure.
and which results did this measurement give you?
The results as such as in kilograms or tons CO2 is not really a surprise or a comparison, as we haven't done this before, but it really gives us an insight in where it comes from, and it really was an eye-opener to see that things that don't have a huge impact on revenue do have a huge impact on your CO2 level. That is something that we were, well, not surprised, but it gave us a better insight.
For example, Ron.
Yeah, air freight. Air freight is one of the most polluting ways of transportation. Um, it- you had the gut feeling it was a lot, but now we have the actual numbers behind
Hmm.
it.
It's like
And that
everybody was aware of that, and everybody had the hint that air freight was polluting, but now you know it for sure.
exactly now we got the numbers to back it up.
When you mentioned that these solutions does not necessarily have a big impact on profitability, but do have a big impact on the sustainability, and we are talking about, for example, air freight. What do you mean by that? I mean, are there other options different to air freight or different
Yes,
ways to do air freight?
there are, and that's the beauty of this system, because everything now is around CSRD, Corporate Social Responsibility Directive, or to
Hmm.
report on non-financial issues to be transparent as a company. And one of the things, for example, is that we have to reduce our Scope 3 emissions. And one of the elements within that Scope 3 emission is outbound transport, but also inbound transport. And air freight, to get more into detail, air freight is a big part of that. So if we want to reduce our Scope 3 emissions, we could say we don't fly anymore. That means that we have to go to our clients and say, hey, listen, instead of flying, we're sending out the parcels by boat. And then you get this discussion started, because is this something that you want to offer to your client? Or do you have to look in different options in, for example, sustainable air fuel? But at least it's a starter of a discussion to work together to this common goal that you all have, is to reduce your carbon footprint. It's not just a one-man show from a company.
Why do you think should fashion brands concern about this? Do you think that their clients, their customers, care about sustainability?
Well, there
This is
are
a trick
always
question. We kind of know why, but we want to hear it from you.
there is always a part of the population that doesn't care about sustainability at all. But you see that more and more consumers are really not only interested in the CO2 that is being emitted by the parcel delivered to their doorstep. It goes further than that. They really are interested in how are the goods produced, where are they sourced from, how are the people that actually are making the products, how are they being treated, paid, and organized. So it's like people are getting more aware about the things around them.
Do you think that choosing a specific logistic solution, if you are a buyer from the customer perspective,
Mhm.
could be a deal breaker if that solution is not sustainable? I mean, could a customer say, no, I don't want to buy this product because I don't like the way that it's going to be delivered to my house?
Yes, that could absolutely be a deal breaker. In the old days, if it comes to transport, for example, mentioning delivering to your doorstep, in the old days you had to choosing between good, fast, and cheap, and now we're adding the fourth component to it. It can be green as well, or sustainable, however you want to call it. So it can be either cheap, good, fast, and it can be sustainable. So there is a fourth dimension that our clients and thus the consumer can make a decision on. And for example, in the checkout of the website, they can say, hey, listen, you can have your parcel within 1 day. This is the CO2 emission and the cost related to that, and we're going to fly it. Or you can have it in 2 to 3 days with a lower emission and a lower price because we don't fly it, but we deliver it by truck. So that's the options that we are able to provide to our clients nowadays.
That's amazing, and it's like a bold step, to say this is going to be the amount of CO2 that you're going to be releasing into the atmosphere if you use this system versus this other one. Because right now, at most, what you would say is like the little green leaf, but they don't talk to you in numbers. They might throw like this is the eco-friendly option, and they never tell you exactly how much is the impact of the other non-eco-friendly options. I think
Correct.
that's an amazing approach that you have there. What is exactly Bleckmann doing right now? What solutions regarding sustainability is Bleckmann offering right now?
Well, first of all, we start with the awareness, reporting towards our clients and say, listen, this is the amount of CO2 that is being emitted from our warehouses, from a transport point of view. That's the first step. And the second step is going to be if you let us handle and manage your transport, we can provide you with an overview with a report, and based on the carriers, we can help you reduce your CO2 footprint. So we can look, for example, that we say, listen, you got a lot of parcels going to Germany, and for Germany we're using this, and this carrier, and from that carrier, this one is the cheapest, this is the fastest, this is the best combination in terms of service or whatever. So it's more like a how do you say, a menu in a restaurant.
Mm. So anybody can choose their taste, their liking, their the solution they like the most. Now, Ron, as industry experts, and now that you mentioned Germany as part of the European Union, are there any legal changes that we should be aware? I mean, any legal modifications or regulations? There's constantly. I know. I saw you laughing there. There are constant regulation changes inside the European Union. We know that. But which ones will you highlight, like the main ones for the near future?
For the near future, looking at our specific industry that we are operating in the fashion industry, there are a couple of laws and regulations that come to mind. One, for example, is the ban on destruction. You cannot destroy any unsold goods anymore, and you really have to find another channel, another market for it. That's one. The packaging waste regulation. To minimize your packaging, your outbound packaging, to a certain amount of air, or better said, the package has to fit as tight as possible to reduce the amount of air that is being shipped. So that is essential one. The other one is the DPP, the Digital Product Passport. Although the legislator is not really sure what to put in the DPP, but surprise, but the DPP is something that is going to help consumers, to make the right choosing because they
Mm.
get the information where the item is being sourced, how it is being produced, how it can be repaired, for example. All this information is in this DPP.
Mhm. And that's going to be across the entire European Union,
Yes,
obviously.
everybody that is bringing goods into the European Union has to. Yeah.
Would you say that Bleckman right now is a front runner in the industry when it comes to CO2 emissions reductions, obviously? Because
No?
we know you won an award recently.
Yes, we did multiple. Um, Are we a front runner? We would like to believe that we are a front runner. Are we front runner on every market, on every topic? No, not. Do we want to be? Sometimes it's a decision that you make. Do
Hmm.
you really want to be the greenest or the most sustainable company that is around? And sometimes it's economically uh, not, how do you say?
Not viable.
Exactly, not. Sometimes it's economically not viable, or it's just a bad decision.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's plainly impossible to reduce your CO2 to a net zero level that you don't emit CO2 at all. It's a big stretch, and I don't think it's absolutely possible. There always will be this last remaining CO2 level left.
Yeah, at
You
the end of the day, I
realize,
mean, that heaven scenario, that perfect scenario in which you produce absolutely no pollution whatsoever, it's almost impossible to achieve, isn't it?
I mean, yes, you can have it as a target, and that should be a target. And the same goes with, for example, waste recycling rate. And we measure our recycling rate in terms of how much of our waste can be recycled.
And how much is that? Like a ballpark figure. Give me an overall overview of that.
Less than 80% at the moment
But
across the
that's well,
Bleckmann group.
it's far better than what I was expecting you to tell me. Let me tell you, that's really nice. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sensing some sort of honesty there. That I like that. I mean, you are like really honest, and I guess Blackman
it's
as a
about you.
spokesperson, yeah,
It's about
yeah, because you
transparency.
said like we could be better, we could do better, we could improve, we could go further. I mean, it's not perfect yet. That's great. That's amazing. That's a corporate spirit that you have there, or it's something that it's only Ron because Ron is very perfectionist.
No, 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 no. I am a perfectionist. No, you have to be really realistic. I mean, a recycling rate of 80% is fine. 90% is great. 95% would even be greater.
Hmm.
100% is not achievable because the last 5% is going to cost you that much money that it is not really the effort worth. And that's why you have to draw the line.
Yeah. Is there any other like logistic area which you have already identified that 100% sustainability is not achievable, like for example warehouse operations or transportation? Because in the European Union everybody's talking about, especially in Spain and Portugal, we are headquartered in Spain, so we know that very well. Everybody talks about the no zero emissions in the center of the cities, like Madrid city center. It's like electric cars, no emissions whatsoever. Is that viable for logistics? I mean, it's something that could actually work.
Yeah, I mean, zero emission. If you say that a electric car doesn't emit any
Yes,
CO2,
of course. That's another discussion, because where that electricity is coming from.
where's the electricity coming from? How is the car manufactured? Where is the battery coming from, etc. So this is a huge discussion. But if you say a electric car doesn't emit any CO2, then it's absolutely viable that you can have a zero emission zone within cities. If you just permit electric cars to enter the city center,
And
that's
is
absolutely
Blackman
possible.
pushing into that direction? For example, logistic wise, delivery options or warehouse options? Which one is like the main
Yes,
area?
it's not well on transport. It's not pushing. It's more like providing the service. Yes, we
Hmm.
can. Uh, and if it comes to warehouses, it's a step-by-step journey that we're taking. Warehousing, the Netherlands and Belgium, our warehouses are running on 100% renewable energy.
Okay.
The United Kingdom, Spain, US, not yet. And that's the next step of the journey. We know we can do better. We know we can improve, and that's the next step.
As
Trying
a
to
logistics expert, is the US behind in this sustainability whole thing compared to Europe? I mean,
not what I'm experiencing. No, it's it's also in legislation. I mean, if you look at the Netherlands and Belgium, we have a very strict legislation on waste to landfill. It's not permitted. In the UK, you still have landfill sites close to
mm.
600. In the US as well, it's a different ball games, different like regulations. Um, One thing is we all obey the law, and the law sometimes dictates to be more sustainable than other countries.
Mm. And regarding trends, Ron, for example, like circular fashion or what they're talking about, like the secondhand clothing industry, how do you feel it's going to be 2000? Because we are close to the end of a year right now. So
Mm.
it's 2026. That's
Mm.
our goal. What do you think will be like the main trends for next year?
Yeah, that's a very good one. Um, we as Bleckmann, we are ready for the market, for the trends that are coming, because a lot of brands are now trying to figure out what suits them best. Is it going to be rental? Is it going to be repair? Is it going to be a trade-in? Is it going to be a second-hand? All those different options. A lot of companies, a lot of brands are just looking at the moment, what does fit my brand the best? Um, and we really don't want to say don't care, but it doesn't make any difference for us which they're going to choose, because we can service them if they make this decision. Because is it going to be repairing? Yes, we can. Clean up? Yes, we can. Is it going to be recycling? Yes, we can offer that as well.
So Blackbank has covered all bases. You have everything under control. You can offer mostly all of
Under
the
control,
trends.
under control
Huge.
is a huge one. We try to be on top of things, and we try not to be surprised by the market, but we try to think a couple of steps ahead. But buying the renewal workshop 3 years ago, 22, yeah, 3 years ago, was a huge investment at that time. And at the moment, we are still building this renewal workshop into something that can be a viable product that can be sold into the market. And
Tell us a
that's
little bit more about that because that sounds really interesting. And we are constantly interviewing logistic companies, and I think it's the first time I heard about a renewal workshop.
yeah. Then you have to go a couple of steps back. You mentioned e-commerce, right? Consumers ordering stuff and then sending it back to us. And we start first of all, is it the right item that they send back? And then we have to grade those items. We literally have to check them on defects, on faults. Are
There's
there?
no AI, no robotics there. That's a human operation, isn't it?
This is a call out to the industry. If anybody can deliver me an AI that can do that, please call me. The number is right in the bottom. No, to be honest, it is an absolute manual operation. And when those items return to the warehouse, we have to check them and we have to smell them. Are they being worn? Yes or no. If the item is still in a pristine condition, we pack it and we put it back on stock. If it is not in a pristine condition, so it cannot be sold as new again, we report this back to our client and say, hey, listen, this is the item. It is either defects, multi, whatever. It can't be sold as new. What do you want us to do with it? And the answer used to be, well, put it aside. We'll get back to that. And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, we got an email and say, hey, why are you charging us so much warehouse space? And then we say, yeah, remember this one item we had to put aside? It wasn't just one item, it were multiple items, and that really goes fast if you ship out 600 million items. And then the idea came, can we do something about that? Because our client can't sell it as new, it is impossible, but it is also a defect. So how can we offer a service to resolve this problem for our consumers, for our clients? And then we came up with the renewal workshop. And the renewal workshop is very simple. We can repair, we can clean those items to bring it back into a condition that it can be sold again, either new or as a B or a C category level item, but that's something that has to be discussed with the client. So we went to our clients and say, hey, listen, you got, I don't know, 10, 20, 30, a lot of items, pallets, boxes in the warehouse. Can we have a look at it, please? Can we do a product assessment? And then we got back to the client and say, hey, listen, we examined those items, and 70% of those items can be made to a condition that they can be resold again. And that's how it started.
Wow. I mean, I think there's a powerful lesson here for brands, fashion brands that are fishing for logistic partners. You should go for people that know their industry, like specialized logistics like Bleckmann. Because I think that out of thousands of logistic companies we have been interviewing for the last, I don't know, 8 years, this is the first time I see that solution, that kind of solution. And I think it's an industry specific solution for fashion. Uh, or it's something that could also be applied to other industries, like, for
No, it
example, I
can.
don't know, gadgets, electronic devices, and stuff.
No, you see it more and more, and to be honest, we weren't the first one that came up with it. I mean, there is already a couple of years you can buy refurbished items, and that's basically the same principle, but it hasn't been done for fashion on that scale. Refurbishing and repairing is also that is mandated or being put into law that all the items that you put on the market have to be repairable, and that's going to be a challenge for some industries as well.
Hmm.
Can you
Talking about
imagine?
challenges, which
Yes.
ones do you feel like would be like the biggest lesson learned or the biggest challenge that you had to overcome in this year?
The biggest challenge would be to get all the data correct, because that's the basis of everything. The data, knowing what you're doing, and looking for solutions. And there are a lot of things. I mean, we have been a part of the problem for what 160 years, and we really would like to be a part of the solution for the next 160 years. And that means that you have to be innovative, that you have to think, well, literally outside the box sometimes. And as you mentioned, AI and returns, it would be great to have a AI or a camera or video or whatever that can not only identify an item, but tell us what is wrong with this item and what could we do with it to get it back into circulation again, to be more circular.
Well, let's cross our fingers, Ron, so we can have that solution for 2026.
Yeah, that
Hopefully,
would be a
let's see
great
what
one.
happens.
Yeah.
And for the next year, which one will be Blackman's main target, your main goal to achieve?
The main goal to achieve, well, first of all, reporting is going to be the biggest one. As we have to comply to a corporate social responsibility directive. We have to report according to the CSRD. So this is going to be one of the biggest items. The other one is to have all those measures and targets in place. What do we as a company really want to accomplish in the next 5 to 10 years if it comes to sustainability? And do we want to reach this net zero? Is it something that we can do? Do we want to offer a carbon emission free transportation for our clients? So that type of challenges or goals are for the next years.
And finally, Ron, to close this up, because we're close to the 30-minute mark, we want you to do an exercise with us here. We want to ask you a very difficult question, which is,
Okay.
if you have to choose only one competitive advantage, only one for Blackman, which one would that be?
I think it's going to be engagement. Yes, engagement. We are engaged with what we do. We are engaged with our clients. We like to think, no, we think that we know what our client really wants, what drives them. And if you know what drives your client, then you're halfway in servicing your client as you should have to. So I think engagement. If you walk around in our warehouses, in one of the 42 we have, and you ask staff, where do you work for? Most of the time they mention the brand that they're working on
Hmm.
and not the company they're working for. So that is what I mean with engagement. If you take care of that, I mean, you're halfway there.